On the news, National Judicial Council reinstates Justice Ophelia Jimogobia as Judge of Federal High Court. Senate to debate CBN's weekly cash withdrawal limit of 100,000 naira. And Nigerians will choose their leaders without manipulation, President Muhammadu Buhari assures. It's good to have you join us on News Now. I am Mary Kanu. The National Judicial Council has reinstated Rita Ophelia Jimogobia as a judge of the Federal High Court. In a circular dated December 5th and signed by the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Shoho, the reinstatement takes immediate effect. In 2016, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, had arraigned the judge on charges bordering on money laundering and breach of public trust. However, Hakeem Oshodi, judge of the Lagos High Court, struck out corruption charges against her. In 2018, the NJC dismissed Ophelia Jimogobia from the service of the Federal Judicial Service Commission on the grounds of alleged judicial misconduct. Dissatisfied, she instituted a suit before Iyang Eko, judge of an Abuja Federal High Court, challenging the process adopted by the fact-finding committee of the NJC that recommended her dismissal. And the Nigerian Senate has scheduled next Tuesday to debate a motion on the new policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria, which limits weekly cash withdrawal to 100,000 naira. This was after a failed attempt by Senator representing the FCT, Philip Aduda, seeking to address some concerns that have trailed the new policy that seeks to limit cash withdrawal by any individual to 100,000 naira and corporate bodies to 500,000 naira per week from January 9, 2023. Also speaking, the Senate President said the debate will help the lawmakers understand the policy better in order to fully take advantage of the pros of the CBN policy.
Our commerce, I don't think, is ready for this, and our economy may not take this shock. And as such, Mr. President, I want to say that now that there's this, there's the issue of screening of nominees from the CBN, I just thought that I should speak about it so that Nigerians are aware, and then let us look at what we need to do.
I would advise that these two deputy governors have been in the CBN for the last 4 or 5 years. So they are part of this system. They are not new people. When they come for screening, this is supposed to constitute a major... Just hold on, please. Just hold on, please. Let me talk, please. This is supposed to constitute a major issue to be raised before them. You can come with a motion, but I want us to be properly informed and properly guided. Most of us, if not all of us here, have not had an engagement with that institution. We are not happy with what it is, but when we debate, we should have solid grounds. And I believe that at the moment, my personal opinion is, if we want to be a cashless society, we should take time to be a cashless society, not to jump at once into being cashless. Most Nigerians will be out of business. So I believe that, but we need to have an opportunity, take the opportunity of screening. From there, we can go ahead, because by then, somebody would have explained exactly what they mean.
Meanwhile, mixed reactions have trailed the CBN's new cash withdrawal policy. Speaking to TV360 News, some Nigerians highlighted the advantages and disadvantages of the new policy, while some are of the view that the policy will increase the value of the naira and also curb crime in the country. Others say the country does not have the capacity to address some challenges the policy will pose on the cyberspace and internet. They also said that small and medium-scale businesses will be negatively affected.
For me, I would love to see it work, but I doubt. there are a lot of legislations that have made so far in the past, laws and all that, that had not really held water. You understand? So me, for instance, I would like to see it work. If it will surely work, if it will work. Yes, I know it's part of cashless society and all that, but I would want to see it work. But I doubt if it will work.
With this, I think it will curb the rate of criminality in our country, and then in turn reduce the numbers of robbers we have on the streets. Because I have said it earlier that no kidnapper or any person would come to your house and want you to make a transfer to them. Even for the kidnapping sections now, you know that once you make a transfer to a kidnapper, that person now is it can be traced. That person is at a vulnerable state where his account can be traced, and he himself will be arrested.
I've lost a lot of money concerning even this transfer of it. If somebody buys market of 10,000 naira, he have to make transfer. I saw the debit after 10 minutes, because I believe after 5 minutes, when they did not reverse it back, I should be able to receive it. After 10 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, I couldn't get it. And the following day, I have to go to my bank. They said the money is being hanging. When the money will be sent back, it's sent back to the owner. How many Nigerians are trustworthy that when you do that kind of business, they will now send it back to you? So the network of the bank is not even friendly with. Talk less of this kind of policy.
We are not supposed to be carrying cash all around, but now can the system absorb that e-transaction? Mind you, there has to be security, e-security, to secure people's IDs and all those stuff, because it's cyber security. Thank you. So this is another concern. So those things need to be in place and really functioning before you can come up with such, policies.
While still on the CBN's cash withdrawal policy, earlier I spoke to Johnson Chukwu, CEO Buhari Asset Management Limited. I began by asking him if there can be a reversal of the central bank's policy from the Senate.
In the first place, the central bank has what they call policy autonomy. It is the duty of the central bank to manage the financial, the payment system, the financial stability, monetary policies, and all those things that come under the functional responsibility of the central bank. The central bank has what policy autonomy. So the central bank does not need to go to the National Assembly or go to the executive arm of government to get consent or approval before they implement policies that are defined in the CBN Act. And for that reason, the best that the National Assembly can do is play advisory role, play its oversight function. But those oversight function does not include determining policies that the central bank must implement when it comes to policies within the CBN Act. And managing payment system is part of the CBN responsibility. Managing financial system is part of the CBN responsibility. Policy issuance is part of the central bank responsibility. And if you recall, the National Assembly had also raised objections, including the Minister of Finance, to the CBN redesign of the currency. Although the National Assembly eventually reversed their position and supported it. All said and done, the central bank has policy autonomy, and the National Assembly does not have the powers to withdraw or to annul decisions that central bank governor take as it relates to monetary policies.
Now, weighing the pros and cons of the new cash withdrawal policy, do you see this policy in the long run curbing inflationary pressure?
Well, let me start from the cons, because that's what a lot of people are actually looking at. I know the operators of POS have been complaining that this will drive them out of business. I also know that it could pose some challenges for those who live in very rural areas where there is minimal internet services, or those who are not opportune to have some level of formal education as to use smartphones or to be able to make electronic payments. So those ones could have some challenges. But I think in terms of using smartphones to make payments, or using ATM cards or POS terminals, these are skills that could be acquired even for those who are not well lettered. So that shouldn't be a problem that cannot be surmounted. And in terms of network availability, I want to believe that the demand is going to push the network operators to expand their coverage even to rural areas because there will now be data service needs in those areas which can pay for the investment they're going to make, because it's going to be driven by commercial considerations.
Well, that was Johnson Chukwusi Okari Asset Management Limited speaking on the CBN's new cash withdrawal policy. And President Muhammadu Buhari has reassured that Nigerians would be allowed to choose their own leaders without interference or manipulation in the 2023 general elections. The president made this known when he received a delegation of political, religious and business leaders from Gombe at the State House Abuja to appreciate him for his role in the discovery of oil in commercial quantity in the coal mining area of the state. The president said that irrespective of what some people say, his administration has made strides in stabilizing the security situation in the country, reviving and diversifying the economy and fighting corruption. In his speech, leader of the delegation, Governor Inuwa Yahaya, said the coal mining oil project was a milestone for the entire country, adding that it will enhance the socio-economic fortunes of the state.
I would like to assure you of the cooperation and support of the local community and our neighbors, Bauchi State, in order to ensure the proper takeoff and successful operations of this gigantic project. Despite the efforts of cynics and skeptics, we shall join hands to ensure the success of the project and indeed the success of Mr. President as you steer the ship of this country in these very hard and tumultuous times.
The Kolmani Integrated Development Project is going to unlock tremendous opportunities for our people, especially across the oil and gas value chain. This will provide job opportunities for our teeming youths and improve economic activities across the state and the Northeast region. Gombe is an important commercial center in the Northeast, strategically positioned to reap the benefit of this oil exploration. It is important to restate that there is no conflict or dispute between Gombe and Bauchi State. We are brothers united by common history, first as important emirate in the Sokoto Caliphate, secondly as part of Bauchi province in the colonial Nigeria, thirdly as part of the Northeast State, and lastly as Bauchi State before the creation of Gombe State in 1996.
Ahead of the 2023 presidential election, the senator representing Lagos Central Senatorial District, Remi Tinubu, has called on Nigerian women to support and vote the All Progressives Congress (APC) for a greater Nigeria. The senator, who is also the wife of the presidential candidate of the APC, Bola Tinubu, spoke on Wednesday at the APC Southwest Women Presidential Rally in Lagos. She said the Bola Shatima administration will build on the legacy of the current administration to achieve a better Nigeria. On her part, wife of APC Vice Presidential candidate Nana Shatima says there is nothing wrong with the Muslim ticket, adding that the APC administration is the best option for Nigerians.
I'm in the National Assembly. There are things being done, foundations being laid, that this Tinubu Shatima administration has to build upon. So that's why we tagged the campaign Hope Renewed. Why do you hope for something? For something that you have seen? You only hope for something that is yet to become. So that's why he said, renew your hope in Nigeria. The best is yet to come.
As we all know that power is from God. And just Her Excellency, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu just said it. To be honest, the Muslim ticket is something that I think God is destined for Tinubu and Shatima to maintain the leader of leadership come to but for the benefit of the nation. Sincerely speaking, I think they all have a very good record, and by God will, sincerely, without any sentiment, we are all one. And the beauty of diversity that Nigeria has, let's unite, let them vote for the credible leaders. Those are truly their visionary, they are doers, they are thinkers. And sincerely speaking, APC is the best option for Nigeria.
To contribute to the development of healthcare system on the African continent, a Pan-African Healthcare Initiative, I3, has organized a 3-day networking event to connect African startups to potential investors and stakeholders. The event, which took place in Lagos, Nigeria, and sponsored by a global network of industry leaders, donors and institutions, had in attendance 31 selected promising innovators across the continent who are expected to foster meaningful relationships with stakeholders and industry players to drive the company's commercialization and growth. Our correspondent Abisola Adebayo tells us more in this next report.
It's no secret that the COVID-19 pandemic exposed huge gap in Africa's healthcare sector. This situation has been attributed to the chronic lack of investment in healthcare infrastructure and equipment, as well as supply chain constraints. However, new research has found that tech startups that are looking to plug these gaps are now springing up all over the continent. But while many of these companies are still at the early stages of maturity, only a number of them have actually reached the growth stage. To contribute to the development and growth of this health tech ecosystem, a Pan-African initiative investing in innovation, I3, decided to organize this networking event, Access to Markets, bringing together 30 selected health startups across Africa with leading healthcare organizations as well as stakeholders.
What we're trying to do is to support startup companies that will allow us to leapfrog with regards to innovation and therefore reach a lot more people in a much more scalable way. So essentially this is doing things in a very novel approach. In a startup environment, failure is extremely high. And what we need to do, it's our responsibility, is to support these kind of companies around Africa, because there's challenges in Africa, but no one can solve for these challenges like Africans. So the solutions need to come from Africans.
Innovators at the event say they are optimistic about making meaningful collaborations which will drive commercialization and scaling of their companies.
It's very, very amazing because, it brings together all parties that are involved, from entrepreneurs who are building solutions to donors to the government, so that we can be able to collaborate and find a way on how we are able to tackle the healthcare challenges in these markets across Africa, how we are able to get access, how we are able to solve the issues seamlessly.
I'm humble enough to know that I need to learn, so I'm learning a lot from the experts and the various organizations that are here. I'm also going to get a lot of partnerships out of this that's going to also serve the markets in ensuring that we get as quickly as possible into the markets and reaching the underserved and communities that yet do not have access to healthcare.
Potential investors and government stakeholders at the event also expressed willingness to collaborate with the innovators to improve public health services and accelerate the achievement of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
To become a model megacity, you need to incorporate smart digital technology. So within the field of medicine or health, which is why we're gathered here today, we're trying to see how innovators in this space, both in Lagos, Nigeria and across the continent, can provide new ideas, new innovations that help us as governments to make supply and demand side more efficient.
To the startup companies that we're meeting with today, it's important that they understand our strategy, supply chain strategy. They understand who the key stakeholders are. They understand how to engage and partner with stakeholders, whether it's government or non-government stakeholders, and that we can explore high impact innovative partnerships with them.
Over the years, Nigeria and the Africa healthcare sector have suffered huge deficits, which most of these healthcare startups are building solutions to. With a supportive business environment, sufficient funding flows and strong connections facilitated by events like these, one could say Africa is well on its way to achieving universal health coverage. Abisola Adebayo, TV360, Lagos.
Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, Gianni Infantino praises best group stage ever at a FIFA World Cup. We'll bring you details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. The National Judicial Council has reinstated Rita Ophelia Jimogobia as a judge of the Federal High Court. In a circular dated December 5th and signed by the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Soho, the reinstatement takes immediate effect. In 2016, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, had arraigned the judge on charges bordering on money laundering and breach of public trust. We also told you that the Nigerian Senate has scheduled next Tuesday to debate a motion on the new policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria, which limits weekly cash withdrawal to 100,000 naira. This was after a failed attempt by Senator representing the FCT, Philip Aduda, seeking to address some concerns that have trailed the new policy that seeks to limit cash withdrawal by any individual to 100,000 naira and corporate bodies to 500,000 naira per week from January 9th, 2023. Well, in case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. And now to COVID-19 updates. China has announced the nationwide loosening of COVID restrictions following protests against the hardline strategy that grew into calls for greater political freedoms. Anger over China's zero-COVID policy, which involved mass lockdowns, constant testing and quarantines even for people who are not infected, stoked unrest not seen since the 1989 pro-democracy protests. Under the new guidelines announced by the National Health Commission, the frequency and scope of PCR testing will be reduced. Lockdowns will also be scaled down and people with non-severe COVID cases can isolate at home instead of centralized government facilities. We'll take another break now and return with business updates. Stay with us. Welcome back. Simisola Adigu now joins us with business updates. Simisola, over to you.
Thank you, Mary. Welcome to business. The federal government has charged the Standard Organization of Nigeria to ensure that goods produced or imported into the country can compete in the global market. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Adeni Adebayo, said this in Lagos at an event to mark the 50th anniversary of the organization. Adebayo, who was represented at the event by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Evelyn Ngige, urged the agency to stick to its role in maintaining standards to support industrial and facilitate trade while promoting investment in the nation's economy. He thereafter charged the agency to remain committed to ensuring quality and continuous improvement of all goods produced locally or imported.
The Standards Organization of Nigeria has a vital role to play in facilitating trade and ensuring that local goods and services compete favorably in the international market by guaranteeing that excellence is maintained across all production lines in the country. This is even more important now that the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement has opened up the domestic market to all comers in the continent of Africa. SON must therefore speak to its role in maintaining standards to support industrial development, facilitate trade, and promote investments in the Nigerian economy. Sun should remain committed to ensuring quality and continuous improvement of all that is produced locally and imported from elsewhere.
SUN has done so much work in providing these standards. The times during the standard when they are really instituting what standard should be, they call stakeholder meetings, they have explained, they do their research, and eventually in the laboratories and others, and eventually they come up with a standard that's acceptable all over the world. Over the years, these have been the challenges, and they have been overcome this. They have come to the point when even the industries that they are regulating give them support, and that apparently means that the industry manufacturers value what the service they are rendering.
We'll go on a short break here and be back with stock market reports. Stay with us. For the third consecutive day in the week, the Nigeria Exchange Limited has had a bullish run, appreciating further by 0.12%, even though the market breadth closed negative with 11 gainers against 18 losers. The benchmark all-share index, however, inched up to close at 48,426 basis points. Wednesday's top advances, May and Baker Nigeria and FCMB Group PLC, thrust the gains of the market with a combined 7 naira 40 kobo. 99 equities traded 146 million volume of shares valued at 3.3 billion naira in 2,810 deals. Now the reverse is the case for our select foreign stocks. All three of them depreciated on Wednesday to 0.046%, 0.042% and 0.72%. The UK's FTSE faltered as traders ponder the Fed's potential stance next week. The US Dow Jones dropped as traders weighed the possibility of a recession and the likelihood of a hiking cycle from the Federal Reserve, while the Japan's Nikkei dipped as losses in the mining, transport equipment and precision instruments led lower shares. That's the stock market report. Back to you, Mary.
Thank you for the update, Mr. Moving on now to the global scene. U.S. President Joe Biden has celebrated the strengthening of his party's majority in the Senate after Democrat Raphael Warnock was declared the winner of a runoff election in Georgia. The incumbent senator defeated Republican Herschel Walker, a former football star and protege of former President Donald Trump, according to projections by television networks. Warnock's win confirms the very slim Democratic majority, 51 to 49 in the upper house of Congress. And now in sports, FIFA's president Gianni Infantino has hailed the group stage of the Qatar World Cup as the best ever, saying that the number of upsets and geographic breadth of the teams progressing indicated that football was becoming more global. Infantino said he is delighted with the number of fans crowding into the stadiums and fan zones in the country, arguing that the matches had already attracted a television audience in excess of 2 billion viewers. At the tournament, Argentina, Spain, Germany and Brazil all suffered shock group stage losses, and Africa, Asia and North America were represented in the last 16 along with traditional powerhouses South America and Europe.
Great quality in beautiful stadiums. We knew that already. However, as well, the public who was there was incredible. Over 51,000 on average, record-breaking figures on TV. We are already at over 2 billion viewers, which is really incredible. 2.5 million people in the streets of Doha, and a few 100,000 every day in the stadiums, all together, cheering together, supporting their teams. Fantastic atmosphere, great goals, incredible excitement, surprises, small teams beating big teams. Well, there are no more small teams and no more big teams. The level is very equal. For the first time as well, national teams from all continents going to the knockout phase for the first time in history. This shows that football is really becoming truly global.
Well, that's our package this evening. Thank you for watching. I am Mary Kanu. Bye for now.